What's going on YouTube? Welcome to episode 171 of the U.S.S. Enterprise D tutorial. I'm Zerelite and I just want to thank you very much for tuning in today's episode. If you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and helping me in supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. Also, be sure to join the Discord. I'll have a link in the description below. So today we're going to be working on the shower room for the Ambo Jiu-Jitsu ring. So what we were working on the last couple of episodes, because right where we are is literally on the other side of where we built the Ambo Jiu-Jitsu ring, and we're either on the left or right side of the saucer on the bottom deck of the ship on the entertainment deck. And what we've done here is straight across this hallway right here is the Ambo Jiu-Jitsu ring, and this room right here is the straightaway corridor. Going straight to the left, we have what's going to become one of our observation decks, and directly behind that, right in this area here, is where we're going to be building out the shower room. So without further ado, let's kick back, relax, and jump right into this. Now, this is something that I thought that was pretty cool to add in. It just kind of made sense to me that, after you're done with your workout in the Ambo Jiu-Jitsu ring, that you'd want somewhere to come to be able to shower up and change your clothes to either go on shift or whatever you're going to do. Now, this is something that you can build with any of your recreational areas that's basically going to cause a sweat. So like, we haven't built it yet, but the fencing area for sword fighting, that will be one spot. And, excuse me, just sneezed. And pretty much anywhere that you're doing any type of physical activity, you can easily add like a shower room. If you're wanting like to come up with a little bit of something to take up a little bit more space, that makes sense to add it. Because this is something I try to stray away from. I don't like to add things on the ship just for the sake of taking up space. If I add something, I like to do it because I feel that it needs to be there. So this is something that we can definitely do. I haven't done it on the Enterprise D, but I saw somebody in the Discord, they had posted pictures where they started going around the ship adding in restrooms. And I thought that that was very clever. And it was like, yeah, when you think about that, it totally makes sense that you would need to add this stuff on the ship. And I love that people are starting to think outside the box in that regard and thinking about, okay, what do we need to make this feel like it's a real ship? Because remember, at the end of the day, the Enterprise D isn't real. Um, it's a completely made up ship, and there's variations of the blueprints that you can find. And I mean, this is kind of like one of the reasons why I don't usually use the blueprints anything more than a glorified reference, because uh, I feel like at the end of the day, if you need to make a change, it's not a big deal. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at here. It's not really gonna mess with canon too much, as far as I'm concerned, anyway. If a room is moved to a different area because it makes more sense, like what I've done with the Enterprise D, for example, breaking it up into categories on the saucer section, having the science medical deck at the top, followed by the crew deck, followed by the entertainment deck. It just made sense to me at that point that, yeah, we need to do that. And I don't think that that was something that was necessarily done on the Enterprise D. They just kind of had stuff going all over the place. Um, because you got to think too, when these things are done, it's not like they have years to plan out the blueprints. They do this in a very, very short period of time. Um, and then on top of that, maybe not so much with the Enterprise D, but with some of the more modern ships, that they'll make a room, and if it's not big enough to fit the scale of the ship, what will they do? They'll upscale the ship. Um, like the Strange New Worlds Enterprise, for example, it's like over twice the size of the original Enterprise from the original series. So like right there in itself, like it's breaking canon. So I don't know, like even Strange New Worlds, like I almost chalk it up like that it's basically it's an alternate universe that's just following the more so the same storyline of the original series, and I can get around it at that point. And even then, like, it's not really that much of a big deal, because you think about the budget that they had during the original series, they didn't have a lot. Same thing with the next generation. Like, yeah, it was a huge um, um, step up as far as the budget goes. Took me a second to get there, but yeah, no, I mean, a huge step up in the budget from the original series. But even then, like, they still had a budget that they had to go by because they were working with TV. Um, this is a lot of the reasons why a lot of the rooms in the Enterprise D are so small. But when you look at some of the concept art, they did flesh out some massive rooms. Like the primary shuttle bay, for example, is basically like a mall in itself. Like when you look at it, just the scale of it. Um, so this is kind of like why I just make these decisions that I make, because I get people that ask me from time to time, hey, why don't you build something straight out within canon? And I just kind of, you know, I feel like I really am at that point, because I'm focusing on what we saw on the shows. And the blueprints, I mean, again, they're good, but they're just, to me, they're not going to get you any more information other than a general layout of the ship. Because the other thing too, and this is going to go against one of my rules that we just kind of talked about, that I don't like adding in a bunch of random rooms just for the sake of doing it. I like adding in stuff because it makes sense to add it in. And one of the uh, things I've noticed when you're looking at blueprints of Federation ships in general, that there's a lot of space that they just kind of take up. Like they'll just add rooms all over the place, or like with the Enterprise D, they'll add observation decks pretty much like on every area of the ship, and bars and things like that. So it doesn't really, it's not necessarily like a fleshed out ship. It's just something that they threw together so that they had a general idea of where they were going to go when they made the show. So that's why, like, I try to kind of look at it as, okay, like taking all that stuff into consideration, how would it really be if we actually built one of these things out? You know what I mean? And that's all I really try to do when I build my ships on YouTube. Granted, I do take some liberties with some things here and there, scaling them down a little bit. But just like with the Enterprise D is a perfect example, that if I made it a full scale, the amount of time that it would take me to build it out would be ridiculous. So by scaling it down, it makes it a little bit easier to manage as far as building it out in a reasonable time frame, and then also being able to fill in those blanks. Um, but I mean, I think that we've done a decent job with the Enterprise D. With everything said and done, I'm pretty, uh, actually, I'm over the moon happy with how this thing has turned out. I've seen screenshots that people have posted of their own Enterprise Ds that they've taken from the tutorial series. And like, it's crazy. Like, I look at these builds and I see my ship, and it's like, man, this is awesome. I did a pretty good job as far as um, doing the tutorial to the point that people could follow with me. And that makes me feel good too, because it shows me that the time and work that I'm putting into these videos, it's paying off. Um, I try to make it a point to talk about my entire thought process, because this is my blueprint. Everything that I talk about, all the decisions that I make, the references that I use, this is essentially what I do to build these ships out. So I really try to convey that and talk about everything when I do these videos, because I know exactly how you guys feel. Some of you that might be doing these for the very first time, you're not really sure where to start. And if I can help you out in that sense and talk about some of the things that have gotten me to where I'm at today, and the things I think about when I'm building my ship, hopefully some of that stuff will rub off and you'll be able to transition that into your own builds, which I've been seeing a lot of from so many people within the community that play now, that are on my Discord, that take the time to show the pictures that they've made. Um, it's absolutely awesome to see it. It really is. And I mean, there's going to be a lot more cool stuff to come in the future because of that. So I don't want you to think that we're going to be slowing down after the Enterprise D. In fact, it's going to be the exact opposite. Because after the Enterprise D, we've got Voyager, and then once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we have the Star Trek Beyond Enterprise A 1.1 retrofit, which is a variation of the Enterprise A from Star Trek Beyond, but redesigned by me in a way that feels more like the original Enterprise A. I'm getting to the point where I need to actually hop on Minecraft and start building the thing. I was supposed to get on this weekend, but unfortunately, I just had a lot of stuff going on, and I haven't had a chance to really get on. Um, but that's going to be something that's going to be happening relatively soon because I'd like to be at a point where um, I can finish up this tutorial and go right into Voyager. But there's a chance there could be a short break with that, and I mean that may not necessarily be a bad thing because I've pretty much been working on this one tutorial series for over a year at this point, and I've other than having maybe like a week here or there and breaks in the videos. Other than that, I've pretty much been putting them out every week. So I mean, that could end up being a thing. We'll see. We'll play it by ear. Um, but getting into a little bit what we got going on with this video here, you can say I messed up there. I actually have to bring my wall back at least by one more block. This is why it's important just to pay attention to what you're doing and compare it to what you've done previously to help you out. If I would have just brought that line all the way over like I just did, I would have saved myself a good 2 minutes of not having to go back and finish or fix a mistake that I just made. But it's all good because it's not really a big deal. Um, as long as you compare what you've done with what you're currently working on, like if we do one thing on one side, we do it on the other, we basically double check our work. And as long as you do that, you're going to be in pretty good shape. So we have our room in place here, and these little stalls that I've made, these are basically going to be the showers. So we're going to have our showers and just like a place that you could sit down and change and do whatever. And maybe we could put a fence up there in the corner and make it look like a water faucet. That could be pretty cool. That could work out. And then we can kind of maybe tie it up with having like a glass window in the front to make it look like a sliding glass door for the shower. We're not really trying to get a huge amount of detail in here, just enough to, get it to the point where it looks like a shower, um, and that's basically it. We're not going to be spending a heck of a lot of time on this room. This is pretty much going to be a one and done. After today, we'll just be moving on to other areas of the ship. And like I was saying, this is going to be the only shower room that I make, but this is something that you can take this design and you can add this on to the fencing area. You can even put a shower area over by the holodecks or over by where we're going to be building the, I believe it's the dodgeball ring, because there was an episode of Dodge, or that they had like where Picard and Wesley played like a futuristic version of dodgeball, I think it was, or racquetball. Um, yeah, we could totally get away with that, and it helps to flesh the ship out just a little bit more. Now we've got to clean up this wall here, and then from there we're going to have to work on our floor. Now you're going to see that there's going to be a couple of challenges that we're really going to have here with the floor, but it's going to be something that we can cover up fairly easily. And that quartz block needs to be there, so we're just going to do white concrete. And the easiest thing to do here with the floor is because we really can't delete anything that's there. So again, we're just going to cover that up with carpeting just to make it look nice and neat. Yeah, no, there's a couple of areas left that we're going to be working on with the Enterprise D. So still a little bit of content left. I actually, and I talked about this before, that I did go through and I edited some of my future episodes that we're going to be doing on the Enterprise D, and I actually ended up deleting one or two episodes because when I looked at it, um, I didn't do anything in those recording captures that really felt like it was something that I needed to include in the tutorial. I really wasn't I was kind of just spinning my wheels basically. So I just decided, I'm like, well, you know what? I'm just going to take those out. Like, there's so much stuff that we've got in this alone, that at this point I'm just trying to get to the finish line. Um, because this thing already, no matter what number we end up falling on, this is the longest tutorial series I've ever done. Um, and because of that, all my tutorials going forward, I'm going to be trying to do them in a much more efficient way, which you guys will see when we do Voyager. Um, just because I'm trying to get to a point where I can kind of lower my content that I'm putting out, but at the same time not. I'm trying to make it to a point where you don't have to watch 130 episodes to do a tutorial to Enterprise D, even though um, that's what it's taken so far. Not even 130. We're at 171, so we're so much far over that. But I mean, at least the good thing about it is that somebody that's building the Enterprise D can come in, they can watch this video or watch these videos, and they can kind of, piece together, maybe, okay, I like this, but I don't like this, and kind of pick and choose what they want to add into their own ship to give them some type of inspiration. Because remember, at the end of the day, there's no wrong answer when you're building these ships out. Um, as long as you have your general structure of your corridors in place, you can take a lot of liberties with the design of this thing. So, I mean, this is why I always say just have fun with it. Make it your own, and just try to have a good time with it, because that's why we're doing it. We're doing it to take our mind off stuff, and Minecraft will definitely help you with that. It'll help you not to think about anything else other than what we're working on right now. Very therapeutic in that sense. Helps me completely, especially within the past 2 years. I've had just been hit with so many different things from my own personal life and just everything in general. So when I get a chance to get on here, like, I really do enjoy it because I don't think about anything else other than what I'm working on. So if you have anything going on in your personal life and you're having a hard time, pop in Minecraft. I can't recommend it enough. Or any type of, not even just Minecraft, any game where you're building something. I found that it's very helpful in taking your mind off of things. So all right, we're in pretty good shape here. We added in a couple of storage bins so that the people are going in to have their ambo matches. They can have a place to drop their gear off or whatever. And we're going to adjust this back wall right here. Because remember, this room that we're in right now, this is going to be, well, it's actually not going to be an observation deck. If I'm not mistaken, this is going to be the observation deck where they have like all of their musical recitals, or like where Barkley and Troy would do their live plays and things like that. It was an observation deck, but they used it for like recreational singing and things like that. So, I mean, that's kind of what I'm going to be going for, and we'll build that out soon. We have the base up for it, but we're not going to be getting into it today. Today, we're really just going to be focused on the shower. I almost have this idea of maybe like making like a straight up locker system. So I want to try that out and see what it looks like when I stack 3 chests going straight up maybe. The only downside about it is that they don't become one. It would be cool if you could have the two attached together to make a two-piece like you can when you do them horizontally, but for whatever reason the mechanics of it won't let you do it vertically. Yeah, now over here we just have to close in the back parts, this way nothing's poking out. We're doing pretty good on time. I can't believe we shot through 18 minutes. Does not feel like an 18-minute long video here, but we did it. So now we're just going to kind of add in the last touches here and call this room done. Because I mean, it doesn't need to be anything more than this. It gives an impression of what it needs to be. These are showers. You have a place you can sit. You have a place you can put your stuff. You don't need anything else more than that. You can come straight over here to the Ambo Jiu-Jitsu ring. You can call your parent out for a battle like Riker did. You can go to town. Um, but we're looking pretty good here, and see, like, this whole corner is coming together now. We still have to get that observation play area set up in the far back left, but we'll cross that bridge in the next couple of episodes when we come back to that, because I believe from here on we'll be working on our farm, which will be pretty cool. So anyway, I think that's going to wrap us up today. I just want to thank you all again for tuning in today's episode. And if you did enjoy this content, please help me out. Hit that like and subscribe button, helping me in supporting the channel. Don't forget to hit notifications on, hit the bell. Also, new subscribers, make sure that you are subscribed to my channel, because I have noticed that people will add and then they'll get deleted and they'll ask what happened. Something's wrong with the YouTube algorithm, or sometimes it will totally delete you from the channel. Other than that, if you have any questions regarding today's episode, be sure to drop a comment below, either on my YouTube or in Discord. If you have any build suggestions, please add that to the build suggestion tab on my Discord. I don't take suggestions on the YouTube channel, and I do this so that this way I can have all my votes together in one place for everyone to see, and I can gauge better what we need to do. Anyway, I think that's going to wrap us up today. I just want to thank you again for tuning in today's episode. I hope everybody has a happy and safe week. And of course, what did you make in Minecraft today? Let me know in the comments section.